Hello and welcome to the episode of Video Game Logic. Today's episode was recorded on January the 25th, 2022. I'm your host, gaming psychologist, and with me, as always, my non-binary partner in fishing crime.
Caffeine Rage? I think.
Yep, that'll make sense when we talk about the Gameclub game, which we're going to talk about on today's show with the January Gameclub of Moonglow Bay. We'll also tell you what our next Gameclub game is. And then we've got some news topics. So many.
Yeah.
Tabletop Simulator Studio kills global chat for good. Makes a $10,000 donation to a trans advocacy group. A court upheld the firing of 2 LAPD officers who ignored a robbery to play Pokémon Go. Microsoft to acquire Activision Blizzard for $68.7 billion with a B dollars. And Dark Souls 3 security hole lets attackers hijack your PC. That sounds way dirtier than it is now that I read it out loud. Timestamps will be in the show notes following their respective topics.
Well, that's just because you have a filthy mind.
I do have a filthy mind. Also, hello, Rage.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm okay.
That's fair enough.
Made calzones. Ate calzones. Probably ate too much calzone.
Calzones are good. I haven't had a calzone in a while. Nothing against calzones. I like them. But they are, like most Italian things, very carby. So I don't eat them very often.
Well, didn't have any snack or anything afterwards, so yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, I only ate half of mine because kind of doubled the dough recipe thinking that I would need to, and then didn't need to, so I ended up having like a New York size calzone.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing was the size of the dinner plate.
Yeah.
And there was one for me and one for Anita. Had almost an entire chicken's worth of a whole chicken's worth of chicken in it between the two of them. So, yeah.
It does sound delicious, though. I just had some leftovers. I had some leftovers vegetable beef soup, which was not bad. It's pretty good. But,
Well, this was also troubleshooting my pizza dough recipe. Turns out I just wasn't letting it rot long enough.
Oh, I mean, I know what you mean, and we've already talked about this, but just the way that you just said that there, didn't let it rot long enough.
Well, it's using the sourdough discard from my sourdough starter that I usually keep in the fridge. It's a combination of it being more acidic than the recipe I think expects because it's like a year and a half old now. Because it was a COVID baby.
Right, and it's still growing.
So, it's a very mature starter, and also, because I'm adding it cold, it drops the temperature of the dough to, I think I measured it at like 70 degrees after kneading. So, I need like an extra hour to 2 hours of fermenting time to let it break down all those complex carbohydrates into sugars so it browns and doesn't come out pasty white like the cook.
Right. So pasty. It's okay, though. I love you no matter what your color is.
Don't make me fend you off with a pizza peel.
Wait, a pizza peel?
Yes.
What is a pizza peel?
You really don't know what a pizza peel is.
No, or if I do, I don't know it by that name.
It's the big flat. Think of it, giant spatula.
Oh, I didn't know that was called a pizza peel.
Yeah, I mean it's.
I've heard it called a pizza shovel.
Peel is what's its actual name.
Yeah, I've heard it called a pizza paddle.
Well, peel is what it's actually called. P-E-E-L.
Good to know.
And I'll fend you off with one.
I mean, I'll just turn around and let you spank me.
And then I'll have to burn my pizza peel. Great.
I'll buy you a new one when it's over. It'll be worth it.
Sanitize it on a 500 degree pizza stone.
Yeah. We've got 2 pizza stones.
Uh-oh.
We've got I mean, they're both like this. The smaller one is like the size of a large, quote unquote, large pizza that you would get from sort of any pizza place.
Yeah.
And then the other one is much larger than that.
Yeah, honestly, the smaller one's probably not very useful. You want a pizza stone that's a lot larger than anything you're going to cook on it. Because unless you're really practiced on putting things on it, you're not going to hit that target if you're trying to make a big pizza.
Yeah. We haven't made pizza, like homemade pizzas, in a while. Katie in particular has made, homemade pizza, like dough from scratch, like the whole nine. I have never made pizza dough like that. Although maybe once we move, that would be something to learn how to do. I'm going to have a much bigger kitchen. Like you saw the pictures of the kitchen.
Yeah, I'm jealous.
Yeah.
Yeah, my pizza stone is 16 inches by 14 inches.
I don't know what the actual measurements are. I will look that up at some point or go look at the stone. I assume it's on the stone.
Probably not, actually.
Oh, well, I can measure it and do some
the round one's probably about a 12 or 13 inch.
Yeah. I assume it's just measuring the diameter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but my big one is a rectangle and takes up almost the entire real estate of the oven. It's about the size of a half sheet pan. And thank you for stoner talk.
Right. Right. All right. Well, let's just dive in. We got a lot of stuff to get to or get through rather. Mm-hmm. And we'll see how wound up we're able to stay. So let's go ahead and dive in. For anyone who has never heard us do a game club before, game club is where we play the same game at the same time and talk about it at the same time. Used to, we didn't do that as much, but now, especially with like Game Pass, we're able to play a lot more of the same games at approximately the same time. However, we still focus on them for a month. This month's game club was Moonglow Bay, a cute sort of pixel art voxely type fishing game that we played via Game Pass, but it's also available on Steam. And I know it's on the Xbox console. Is it on other consoles? This feels like it'd be a good Switch game. I didn't think to look.
I'll go double check.
Okay. But Moonglow Bay fishing game certainly feels like it's trying to copy, or at least has received inspiration.
Looks like that's negative. It's only on Xbox for the consoles.
Okay. I wonder if Microsoft has got it as like an exclusive. Well, I mean, if it's not on other platforms, I guess that is the case. But anyways, it certainly is. At the very least, it's inspired by games like My Time at Portia and Stardew Valley. It feels like. Granted, I know that there are other games that do that, but those are kind of sort of the most popular ones in the modern era of gaming. And is a very similar thing. I think before I dive in any farther, as if I don't know, what was your experience with the game? Because you had the more common experience, whereas I had
my experience was it was like a cutscene out of Watch Dogs, a flickery, jagged mess. I had what seems to be a very common experience, especially for those who are playing the Game Pass version, where the game does not have VSync and has the tendency to do some massive screen tearing, and because it was doing so much screen tearing, it was also causing some flickering issues. So, yeah, I did not get very far in this game. And it seems that, according to the patch notes, they added VSync to the Steam version of the game. But the Game Pass version, which this seems to be a kind of a running theme with some games, did not get patched beyond the first patch. which is frustrating, especially considering that this game also does not have autosave. And the other kind of running theme from reviews that I read after realizing that I was not going to get very far in this game is that you can get stuck. And they added a I'm stuck feature in the second patch, which is not available on Game Pass. Which is, right?
Yeah. I wonder, I don't know if this is still true or not. It used to be true at one point that to update games on the Xbox console.
I thought they removed the fee.
I was going to say, you could get like 1 or 2 updates and then you'd have to pay a fee. But I don't know if that's still true or not.
Oh, it does look like the Steam version auto-saves when you sleep, which is not available in the Game Pass version.
No, it's not.
So it's very easy to lose a lot of progress, especially if the game crashes, which is something that's also been reported quite a bit.
Autosaving when you sleep too is very standard for this type of game. It feels weird that it's a feature that's not...
That wasn't on launch. VSync not being available on launch is weird.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope that they got enough money through Game Pass to be able to take another crack at this, because the game does have kind of that cozy feel to it. Although, once again, based on the reviews, it does look like it loses a bit of that once you go through the story and you encounter boss fights, which is just weird for this type of game.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't know why I just trailed off like that. Brain fart. Yeah, all right, so the save thing is very strange to me. Like, that feels like a serious missing, I don't want to say feature. Maybe feature is the right way to say it. Like, it feels odd. Really weird that it's not included.
It's a staple of the genre. How about that?
Yeah.
I mean, as far back as the early Harvest Moon games. I mean, as in, the first Harvest Moon game I played was on the N64, and it was a staple then.
Yeah. So I think that one of the reasons, we were talking about this before we started recording, I think one of the reasons that I did not experience that issue is that I have a G-Sync monitor. And so I've just got G-Sync like set to like on by default or forced on. I forget what the option is called, but like it's just running all the time. And then I can disable it if it's causing some weird issues.
Yeah, which I didn't think to start diving into the video settings, because to play something like this, to force on adaptive sync or enhanced sync or whatever they're calling it for non-G-Sync.
Yeah.
It's just utterly ridiculous.
Yeah. It's a very strange thing, to say the least.
And the game is marked at mixed on Steam as well, where there's a lot of people that were having issues with this before they patched it. The flickering, getting stuck. There's also just general scripting issues where certain quests wouldn't fire off, according to some reviewers. It's just, it feels unfinished. It feels like they pushed it out too early. Yeah, and they might have. Like I said, on the technical side, I wasn't experiencing any of those screen tearing issues and any of the weird like flickering. I also didn't get stuck on anything. Which Jim was complaining about in the Discord. It looked like he was playing it, or at least played some of it. He didn't send anything in, but he highlighted, where the hell is this feature marked help I'm stuck, that was only in the Steam version, because...
Yeah. I liked it. It's not a great game. I'm not going to pretend it is. I'm honestly not even sure it's a good game, but I enjoyed it. The basis for the game, like the storyline, is that whatever character that you choose, which I like some of the things that they do here. So the character creation, you get 4 presets. You can't like create your own character, but you get 4 presets, and then you can choose the name, first name, and your character's pronouns. And then you choose a second character as your spouse, and you can choose their um, preset character and pronouns and things. Very cool. I like that that's just like right up front, and they don't like make a big deal about it.
Hmm.
So that's neat. That's a nice
Yeah,
thing to see.
yeah, which makes it very inclusive to pretty much anything,
Yeah.
a relationship.
Yep.
I mean, you are forced into a relationship, and this game does not have romance at all in it, which is also an odd omission for this type of game, but it does make sense in the story.
Yeah, it does make sense within the story.
Because, well, you're a widow or widower, trying to get over the loss of your partner and build up a fishing business to revitalize the town, like you do, right?
As one does, yes.
Making a street, essentially food stand.
Yeah.
Which, okay, that one feels a little odd because there's nobody walking around. Who the hell is buying my fish tacos, right?
I mean, there's lots of people walking around. And the people do have, as is typical for these types of games, they have schedules, they walk around.
About, it's not really drawing people in.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of, video game logic here, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. But yeah, so you come here, it's like you and your spouse retire, you come to Moonglow Bay. It was always your spouse's dream to come here and fish and start this business.
She was also, for me, it was a heterosexual relationship. So she was also wanting to essentially start up the aquarium or, revitalize it.
Yeah.
And then mysterious things happen, right?
Yeah. But apparently Moonglow Bay is a very like deeply superstitious town. And there's a whale that shows up in the opening cutscene, and everyone thinks it's a sea monster. And your partner's like, no, it's not. It's a whale. You guys are being weird. Whatever. And that serves as the first part of the tutorial where the game teaches you how to do the basic fishing. And then later on, like it does like a fast forward thing. Something happens that's not clear. Like your partner just disappears, like lost at sea kind of thing. And then you spend the next 3 years sort of going through a depressive state, and you're shown at the beginning of the game to have like a really dirty, rundown house, and it's not like totally destroyed, but it's very clearly not kept up well. And your daughter comes. I assume it's always a daughter. I had a daughter.
Yeah, it was a daughter for my relationship. I'm not sure if it would be like adopted for a gay relationship.
Yeah,
I'm assuming it would be, but I do like her name because you always choose your first name, but your last name is always Fisher. So she's River Fisher.
Yeah, which right? I thought was cute. Yeah, I thought that was cute.
Although, who would give their kid a punny name, right?
Yeah, I certainly would. I certainly would. I did do that. But anyway, so she shows up and teaches you like the next section of the tutorial, and you learn some more of the outlining story. And this kind of happens several times. You learn more intricate fishing mechanics, and then you learn the game's cooking mechanic, which I hate, but we'll come back to that in a little bit.
Yeah, it's all the systems are very simplistic. How about that?
Yeah. But
and that might be a benefit or a downfall of this game, but yeah.
Yeah. But so you're taught the basic systems, you're introduced to like sort of the main, like the guy who owns the upgrade shop, and the lady who's got like the random items shop, and then the lady who owns the boat dock, and then the lady who runs the aquarium. You're introduced to these people and sort of given some basic quests or basic tasks, whatever. You fulfill these tasks, you get your boat back, you're given one sort of final tutorial about how to use the boat, and then you're kind of turned loose. Go to the billboard, accept some quests from the town, rebuild the town, have fun, go. And it does that sort of thing where it's like, not really very directional. You've got some quests to help you out.
And objective markers on the map that aren't labeled outside of objective.
Yeah, and also are not very accurate in certain cases.
Yeah, where I was having visual glitching, the game is in a voxel art style where all the characters uh, are made out of voxel blocks, and it's a very cute art style. But whenever there's a ton of screen tearing, there's a bunch of glitching. It's very easy to miss characters, and the objective for the freebie, the first thing you do is you essentially put food in a cooler outside, and use the honor system for people to pay for it, right?
Yeah, but apparently this is a small town where everybody trusts everybody else.
And they said the guy at the upgrades store says, well, you should get a vending machine. Here, you can have the store model if you bring me, what was it, a fish taco or something? But
he wants fish and chips.
Fish and chips. Well, the quest marker points you to back inside the store. He occasionally is outside the store, and where I was having visual issues, I could not see the fucker standing outside the store and walked right past him several times, going to the store looking for him. And this is also something that's popped up many times in negative reviews, that objective markers are substandard, and quest NPCs will go into areas that you cannot enter. So there's times that you'll just be standing there waiting for him to come out. I mean, to be fair, on this one, you could just go into the store if he's manning the shop, but it feels like, they played Stardew Valley and didn't really get the entire idea of the game.
Mm. Yeah. So, yeah. Quest markers are even less helpful at times once you get your boat. But so, once the game turns you loose, then it turns you loose. And I'm sure occasionally down the road, there will be a couple of more small tutorials, especially since there's boss fights. I didn't know that was a thing. I haven't encountered any yet. And then there's been a couple of times too that I've gotten like little mini tutorials. It's like, yes, I see you're trying to do this thing. Because River goes with you when you're out on the boat. And so like I was wandering around and I found a thing, and she's like, I see you found this. Would you like a little tutorial? And it's like, yes, River, please give me a tutorial. But anyways, once you go through those things, the game turns you loose, and your main goal is to just invest in the town, build it back up. And the only quest I've gotten so far for that is to just give money to the guy who owns the local tavern. And I've got enough money to give to him. I just haven't done it yet. I haven't given him the money to invest. I'm on day 13, 14.
Yeah, I only made it to like day 3 or 4 because I was just having so many flickering issues, and it was just giving me a headache in the physical sense.
Yeah.
That I just didn't want to mess with it.
Yeah. Gameplay mechanics wise, there are sort of 4, I guess, primary things that I have discovered so far. There's the fishing, and using the net. Yeah,
which both of which seems very simplistic for being the main focus of the game.
Yeah, they're pretty simplistic, but also I think they're pretty good. They could be worse.
I think this game is meant not how we were intended to play it, or at least for Gameclub. I think this was meant to be kind of the filler game, basically Animal Crossing. What it's turned into for me, fire it up for a little bit during the day for a little bit of downtime, and that's why all the systems are very simplistic. Easy to pick up once you pick up the game again.
Yeah. But so there's the fishing and netting. There's the cooking minigame, which I hate. It's just okay. I'm gonna stop here for a second because I mentioned that I hated it before, and I was like, I'll talk about it later. So now we're at later. It's
wait, we are? I thought we were at now.
Yes, we're at later, which is now. So the cooking minigame is boring. Like it's not fun or interesting. It just feels like a waste of time.
It's
different
not Cooking
recipes.
Mama.
No. I don't necessarily expect it to be like this full in-depth like cooking simulator, but I don't see why it exists in the game. Like it feels like that the main thrust of the game is fishing, exploring on your boat, and interacting with the townsfolk. I don't know why it doesn't just have like a simple like crafting menu or cooking menu with maybe like a little flair, like sort of how in Breath of the Wild there's like that little cooking animation, and then you get revealed your dish that you've made. That would make sense to me. That would probably even be cute.
Or having the cooking be more about finding the combinations instead of doing the proper twiddling the thumbstick, right?
Yeah,
I think it's more that it's drawn out.
Yeah,
where each recipe, even though you can cook more than one thing at a time for the same recipe, so making one fish and chips and 5 fish and chips involves the same amount of work, but having it where first you got to wash it, the fish, then you have to chop it up, and that's a mini game. Then you have to fry it, and that's a mini game. Then you have to get the potatoes, and that's another thing. Then you have to chop the potatoes, and that's another mini game. And I think it's more that, and it's all essentially the same idea of either twist the thumbstick in the proper way, smash the action button, or hold the action button.
Yeah.
And it's just so drawn out that while I didn't have enough time to get annoyed with it, I definitely see how it would get old quickly for me.
Yeah, it gets really old really quickly, and there never seems to be anything new. There's chopping things, there's frying them, there's baking them, washing them, a few other things. But like you said, it's, click and hold the button for the correct amount of time. Press the button at the right time. Twiddle the thumbstick around to keep the arrow inside the, the green square or whatever. And that's it. Like if they somehow made mastering the recipes, maybe like, cause you can gain mastery with recipes, but it doesn't change the mini game. It just makes it a higher quality food so that you get more money for it when you sell it. But the mini games don't change. So if mastering it maybe eliminated the mini game or changed it in some way to make it more interesting, like that would be neat. I might still be annoyed with it, but at least it would feel like I was doing something,
or made it where there was only a chance that you would have to do the mini game.
Yeah, but instead, like it's just do the mini game every time, and it's 1 to 2 minutes of gameplay for every mini game that just gets really frustrating. I do like the fishing mini game. Like you said, it's simplistic, but it makes sense. It flows pretty smoothly. There's a few options that you can make about your type of bait and lure and where specifically you're going to fish, which matters more once you get the boat, but where you're going to fish to attract different kinds of fish that fight you differently, and larger fish are harder to reel in kind of naturally, as would be expected. But it's a fishing minigame that makes sense. And then the net minigame also makes sense, although it's super simple. You cast your net, you get like a little meter on screen to determine how far you throw it, and then you wheel the net back in, and you basically just auto collect anything that you go to pick up. There's a few objects that are large that you kind of have to time a button press for in order to be able to like reel them in. But those are only like a few special objects. As far as I can tell, that's only happened a couple of times for me. But so, the main parts of the game: fishing, cooking, exploring around in your boat, which is great. I love driving the boat around and exploring the bay. I love going sort of treasure hunting. There's sort of a large overarching task that you're given, which is like to help clean up the trash in the bay. And there's noticeable improvements in the area as you clean up the trash in the bay. So I like that. That's nice to see. And driving around in the boat is fun. You don't have to sleep when you're in the boat. If you don't sleep, normally you get like a tiredness penalty. And I honestly don't know what it does. It just shows up on your screen that you're tired, and it's like some kind of penalty. I don't know if it makes it harder to fish or cook or something. I haven't noticed. It might just be a symbol, or it also might be a bug that, there's something to do with like the unfinishedness like you talk about. But when you're on a boat, You can stay out for as many days as you want, and the tiredness icon doesn't seem to appear. So I'll just go out boating and exploring and treasure hunting. You can find schools of fish swimming around that you can use your net to catch as opposed to your fishing rod. I mean, you can also use your fishing rod. You get different types of fish for doing it. And then you can find objects. Some of them are trash floating in the water to clean up. Some of them are treasures either on the shore that you can net in or, floating under the water that you can fish up. And that's a lot of fun. That's probably the best part of the game for me is driving around in the boat. If your boat slowly degrades if you crash into stuff, and then you can get stranded and have to call for a tugboat to come get you and pull you back to the dock. And you have to maintain your boat if you crash it, but otherwise you don't have to pay for fuel or anything for it. And then the last part of the game is interacting with the townspeople, which is kind of hit or miss for me. That's usually not my favorite part of these games. Stardew Valley, I love to interact with some of the townspeople. Linus, is a lovely human being to become friends with. And then any of the myriad romantic pursuits, usually I will pick someone and I'm like, all right, this is my romantic partner. I'm going to pursue them for the whole game. And then I have fun with that.
Looks like tiredness is just an icon.
Oh, well, that's lame.
I went to a couple different sites and it looks like nobody can figure out if tiredness does anything outside of just having a little annoying icon.
Yeah, that's dumb. I didn't notice it until I was driving the boat around because I was out, for 3 days and the icon pops. But I was like, nothing feels any different. So I don't know if this is a bug or if it's just because I'm on the boat or what. But anyways, because of the story, which is that you're sort of recovering from the loss of your partner and you've got this journal that you write down and yeah, I mean, your character is directly writing to their deceased partner. So it makes sense why that you can't romance anyone in the game. But, things like that help make the town feel more vibrant. And certainly there are, some characters, some wacky, kooky characters in the town. But most of them are just kind of generic people that are like, oh, hey, how's it going? Nice to see you out of your house. I really would like some fish and chips. Thanks. And you can, make them like you if you bring them fish and chips or whatever it is that they ask for. They all ask for different foods that, serve as the gift giving portion of the game.
Yeah, and it looks like even the friendships. And I'm going to go back to Stardew Valley. You learned a lot more about the characters as you progressed through their levels of friendships by talking to them, by giving them gifts, by interacting with them. And you learn their history, you learn what they want, what they aspire to be. And this, I actually went to look. It looks like essentially, you get them to sign your book, so it's your journal turns into a yearbook, and they'll give you a rumor about a special fish, and that's it. Also, seems very lame, huh?
Yeah, that seems pretty lame. Some of the characters seem more friendly. Some of them have got more personalized name icons and stuff. I mean, everybody's got a unique name in town.
Yeah, but the lady that runs the random junk store is pretty much instantly friends with you. Yeah, your next door neighbor, right?
Yeah. But all that being said, kind of like I said at the very beginning when you start talking about it, it's definitely not a great game. I'm not even sure it's a good game because so many of its components are frustratingly unfinished or unpolished or just bad. Like we've said, issues with why is there a tiredness icon if it doesn't do anything? Why is there not an autosave system? Why is it, fundamentally graphically borked on PC? Why is the cooking minigame so shallow and frustrating? But the fishing mechanic and the exploration is really nice. The art style is beautiful. The music is really relaxing. I found myself playing it the most, just kind of sitting on my couch, chilling out, playing it on my laptop, just chilling. And that was a nice experience. It's nice to do that. And granted, there are other games that do that and that do it better, honestly. But it's something that's new. The newness of the experience helps. I honestly suspect once the newness factor wears off for me, I probably won't keep playing it. But I feel like it's got, another couple of really good play sessions before I hit that point, unless like I discover something that's just like, wow, so cool.
And that's the thing is that uh, it feels like this is meant to be, a pick up and play every so often game to me instead of uh, deep play sessions, or at least, once you get past that initial start, which does seem to be very sluggish
Yeah.
and honestly off-putting to me, even without the graphical issues. Getting that first, 100 schmeckles, right, to get your boat. That requires a fair amount of cooking.
Yeah. Once I should say, once you get on the boat, you pretty much don't have to do cooking anymore because the treasure hunting and pulling in other, like you can pull in like enough fish, like a volume thing, but then you can just sell the fish without having to cook them to make enough money. But that feels weird. Like I feel like the cooking is intended to be a core part of the game.
Especially
And I'm
considering
like,
how much they talk about, you need to get your, street food stand up and running to, bring in customers to into the town because, that's what people are going to do. They're going to drive for miles to get a cold fish taco out of a vending machine.
absolutely. Yeah, I do it all the time. What are you talking about? Um, but yeah, I will say that I don't know if this is it has to be a game balance thing because you can go sell anything you want to the junk store lady, your next door neighbor that's your friend, but you get more money if you stick it in the vending machine. Like anything, any of the treasures I found, or any of the sea creatures, or like even junk, you get more money putting it in the vending machine. But you don't get that money right away. You have to wait for some time to pass before the game sort of randomly selects an item to sell and give you money. I mean, there might be some rhyme or reason behind it, but it just feels random. So, yeah.
Yeah, basically waiting for an invisible person that totally exists to buy whatever item you put in the junk machine.
Right. So, yeah. I don't kind of...
Boy, we're really being hard on this one, huh?
Yeah, starting to wrap it up. I don't. I would. Okay. With a lot of caveats, I would recommend this to somebody. The caveats being, you need to like this type of game already. You need to like sort of
you've already been burned out on like My Time at Portia, Stardew Valley, the Good Harvest Moon / Story of Season games, and you want something different.
Yeah, if you really like the fishing in Stardew Valley, but want it to be like
slightly deeper,
20% deeper, 15 to 20% deeper, like this is the game for you. Like Lexi, if you're listening right now, I know you are, you listen to the show, this is the game for you. Basically, if you're Lexi, play this game. Otherwise, like if you can play it on Game Pass and you want something that's different and relaxing, as long as you don't have the screen tearing issues, which that seems to be very hit, only slightly miss, but if you're able to play it and not have the screen tearing issues, I think it's fine to play then. If you purchase it on Steam at a seriously deep discount, by all means, it's worth it then. But otherwise, like I just can't say like play this. Play Stardew Valley, play My Time at Portia, Story of Seasons, etc. Harvest Moon. Play those games. So that's my quote unquote recommendation. What about you?
I mean, hell, Stardew Valley's on Game Pass, right?
Yeah, it is.
I mean, it's really hard to suggest this over, something that's literally better on the same service, right?
Yep, unless you're Lexi. Lexi, play this game. This game is for you, specifically. They developed this game for you. Cute art style, cute music, a 20% deeper fishing minigame from Stardew Valley.
Mm-hmm.
In the multiplayer that we played, it's been ages ago now. We haven't played Stardew multiplayer in months, maybe even a year. But like she maxed out fishing like immediately. She loves to fish.
Oh, I maxed out fishing pretty early as well, but I just found the fishing on this one not as enjoyable, and I think that's mostly just due to how they present it in this one compared to the minigame in Stardew Valley.
Yeah.
But
Yep. You win some, you lose some.
and
Oh,
then you have Watchdog like graphical glitches.
right.
It's like
Um,
Adrian Pierce is having a flashback to his days as a widower fisherman in Canada, right?
yeah. All right. So, why don't you tell the dear listeners what our next Game Club game is?
So, as a bit of a change of pace, we are doing a jumpless platformer for the next Game Club game. We're
Yep.
doing Snake Pass.
Snake Pass. I have played Snake Pass with my kid before, but it's been 2 years probably, and we definitely did not beat it.
Yeah, I only played a little bit of it. We have this on Steam, or at least I do, and looks like you do as well. So,
Yeah, I have it on Steam.
and I believe this was also on Prime Gaming a while back. So this is technically a platformer, but you control the snake. Your snake is named Noodle.
Noodle.
There's many like it, but this one's yours.
Yes.
And you control Noodle via the trigger buttons, with some modifiers to. It's kind of more of a physics-based platformer where you're wrapping around things, grabbing onto things with your body, and not as frustrating as like I Am Fish, where it's difficult or I should say difficult, frustrating for the sake of being frustrating. This has a particular gimmick that they're going for. So yeah, we'll be diving into a platformer for the first time in actually quite a while.
Yeah, was Celeste the last platformer we played?
Yeah, it's
A
the
game
last
that
one I
you
could think of.
notoriously hated.
Yeah,
That's
well,
all right.
it was just too floaty for me.
Yeah. All right.
But hey, it's more like uh, it's more often than not a game I notoriously hate. See Skyrim.
Very true. Very true. So, speaking of hatred, yeah, ready to move on to our first news topic of the night?
I guess.
Tabletop Simulator Studio kills global chat for good. Makes $10,000 donation to trans advocacy group.
Well, unexpected surprise, but a pleasant one, huh? It's been ages since I fired up Tabletop Simulator.
Yeah.
But I remember, even the glimpses of global chat. Oh, right?
Yeah. I muted global chat. You know, like you could stop on those messages from showing up. I didn't never ever notice any like particularly racist ones or not.
What I noticed was, calling it cancer would be mean to cancer. It just utterly hateful.
Yeah.
And the global chat was semi modded, but there was just so much there that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to keep up when it's flying by, and we don't know what kind of tools they had and things like that. The one, and I don't know how much of this was a joke. Like I'm sure some people were being snarky, but I also don't know how much of it is true because like the global chat was tucked away. Like, but anyways, I'd seen plenty of people being like, "Wait, Tabletop Simulator had a global chat," so I think it is possible to miss. It's kind of tucked away if you're only playing with friends, like
Especially if you're being invited directly into a game.
yeah,
Because that's the other thing is that global chat was only on the main menu and it was on another tab. So if you're playing with friends and you're going directly into a game, or firing up into a game session and then joining in, you're not going to see it because it's not in that area.
Yeah, but good for them. for stopping it. Like, of all of the, like, and I'm sure that they're not perfect. I'm sure they have their own issues. But of all of the things, the headlines, the, abuse from these big companies, and, sexism, and all of the isms and the ists, like, it's good to see a company be like, no, we're just going to turn this off, and then give some money to a transgender advocacy group. Because, I mean, in case it's not obvious, like, Global Chat was going hardcore anti-trans,
Well, pretty much, this is something I've noticed, is that the more unmoderated a area is, it tends to go very hateful and also leaning right on the political spectrum.
Yeah.
Which, tends to have some very openly, some very open hatreds, right?
Yeah.
When you go very far, I should say. I mean, if you're conservative, that doesn't mean that you're automatically a hateful individual. But the extremists on both sides of the spectrum have been noted to be a bit out there. But the right wing, especially these days.
Yeah. Well, I think, like you said, like, the more unmoderated a community is, the more it tends to lean that way. For worse or for worse, the hardcore right-wingers tend to be a lot worse than the hardcore left-wingers in their anti, transphobic, sexist, racist,
or how about
misogynistic views.
How about this? It's more what they speak out against isn't tolerated, on top of just general mistruths.
Yeah.
Or just, flat out lies.
Yeah. Maybe that's a better way to say it.
And disinformation. So they get moderated on Facebook and then talk about how Facebook is banning the truth.
Yeah.
So then they go to unmoderated places, or their little echo chambers.
Yeah, and that's the thing. When these echo chambers form, and there's no moderation, when there's no tools to deal with it, like, the people who are being, persecuted just leave, because they can. They, it's the internet. You have the ability to leave unsafe spaces.
Yeah, and there's no valor in trying to defend Global Chat and Tabletop Simulator, right?
Yeah.
It makes more sense just to leave it or just mute it.
Yep.
So it becomes a spiral of just getting more and more of a collection of dickwads.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm kind of, I think this is probably the best outcome. There will be some people, probably assholes, who were like, free speech, but for the most part, like, I think this is the best thing that you can do. Like, just shut it down. Don't feed the trolls. And then to, like, troll back, like, hey, I'm going to give some money to a trans group. Like, nice.
Yeah, which there's always the irony of the people, the people that yell about their freedoms and being censored and free speech are the ones that never understand what free speech actually means.
Yeah.
On the constitutional level. Because, right?
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. You got anything else you want to say about this?
Dead. Good.
Indeed. Good.
So speaking of dead things, let's talk about the career of a couple police officers.
Indeed. This is one that I had not heard of at all.
Yeah, this happened a couple years ago originally, and this is the final kind of nail in the coffin for these two. A court upholds the firing of two LAPD officers, who ignored a robbery to play Pokemon Go.
Yep.
So this happened back in 2007, or 2017. During that, first really big push of Pokemon, of the Pokemon Go, right?
Yep.
and they ignored a robbery. They spent the next 20 minutes driving around to various locations where virtual creatures are shown on their maps instead of responding to a robbery.
Yep. Essentially, like the gist of this that I have been able to gather from reading the article is that they were caught doing this because of camera footage from either their body cams or from their cruiser.
The in-car video system.
Yeah.
Is what they say in the article.
Okay. But they were caught because of their own cameras, and were heard discussing the Pokemans. I mean, let's be real here. Cops ignore calls all the time. Like, I don't know the specific percentages, but there are many stories that you see where the cops get caught ignoring a call to go do something else that they don't want to do.
Oh, there's also a Supreme Court case saying that police don't have to render assistance to you.
I didn't know that. I hadn't seen that.
Yeah. Talk while I look it up.
Okay, but yeah, this does happen where the cops won't go to a crime. As far as robbery goes, like, my personal feeling is like, fuck it, like, that's fine. I mean, I feel like I'm becoming more and more cynical about cops the older I get, but I feel like lots of times they're just gonna make it worse if they show up, so that's fine.
Okay, so this is from 2005. Justices rule police do not have a constitutional duty to protect someone. And, this is from a little paper called the New York Times.
Yeah.
So, right?
Yeah. But, I've been recently re-listening to a podcast. It's still an ongoing podcast, but I've gone back to listen to some of their older stuff. It's called You're Wrong About. I've talked about it on the show before. And they cite evidence all the time where the cops are doing stuff that they shouldn't be, and it's not just like police brutality and things. It's like ignoring calls, or, because they don't want to deal with something, they'll, write it off as lower priority, and they get caught, and like a couple of people, get in trouble for it. But for the most part, this behavior is allowed to continue. So, and we've seen time and time again that cops are very willing to, just shoot somebody and kill them, as opposed to using a lower level of force or a low level of intervention, even for, dealing with actual crimes. So this is not the worst thing they could have done, going to play Pokemon Go instead of going to a robbery. It's not the best thing they could have done, but it's not the worst thing they could have done.
Yeah. If you don't already have your illusion of police shattered, the examples in the case that this stems from, for there's no constitutional duty to protect, would. Because, oof.
Yeah.
Yeah, look that one up if you want to have some fun. I sent you a link to it directly because I like hurting you.
Thanks. Yeah, I will read that later. I don't want to read that right now, but I will read it later. So, yeah, they filed a bunch of appeals, yada yada, blah blah blah, but they have been officially, or the decision to fire them was upheld. So,
yeah, don't worry. I'm sure that they'll get a job in the next county over or something.
Probably
because that's the other thing is that dirty cops, which this is far down on the rungs of things dirty cops do. Way down there actually.
Yeah,
it's more the fact that they got caught, really.
Yeah.
Dirty cops that do far worse than this just get hired by another department without much issue. So,
yep.
Right?
Yep. I've discussed at length before on the show about my neighbor who was a cop, finally is not a cop anymore. Long story. But was a cop and who did all kinds of really bad, really illegal things. Assault, sexual assault, stealing or robbery from people who were in custody, It's a big list. It was a
Oh, that's
huge
called
deal.
civil forfeiture. So, right.
Yeah. But anyways, he just got shuffled around between like all of the neighboring counties before finally like he was unhirable in the area anymore. So I don't know what they're going to be doing. I don't care leaving the neighborhood, but I have never been comfortable with him living here. Like I don't. Mm-mm. Long. Yeah, I'm just gonna stop talking. If somebody wants to know more about my personal feelings about this guy, I will give you the whole story. I will give you the news articles, like everything, go into my full feelings, but I'm not going to go off on that personal of a tangent
I
right
think
now in the middle of the show.
I think we could sum it up with fuck that guy in particular, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyways, so yeah, I don't know. Do you have other things to add? Am I missing something?
Not really. I mean, I'm honestly more impressed that it was upheld, because that's kind of the other thing, is that these tend to be overturned far more often than not. So, all right.
Yeah, they tend to get away with it more often than not.
But hey, at least they did apprehend that Snorlax.
They did indeed. You know what? Good job, guys. Tax dollars at work.
And I love that they have Snorlax in quotes in the
Yeah.
article.
I mean, if I have to spend my tax dollars to pay for cops to do stuff that's not helpful, I would rather them go catch a Snorlax than shoot an innocent black kid.
Oh, well, why can't they do both?
Right? Multitasking. Increase your productivity. Catch more Pokemons and kill more black kids.
Besides, that Snorlax, it looks awful dark to me.
oh no. No. But that was good. You got him.
Just like that joke. Awful dark.
Awful dark. All right.
So, shall we talk about something that we're honestly not sure just yet what to think about this one?
I know what to think about it. I mean, unless some secret, sultry details come out that change my view, I know exactly what to think about this one. But we'll get into that. Microsoft to acquire Activision Blizzard for I'm just going to say $69 billion, right? What's 300 million?
Nice.
When you're nice. Yeah. God knows how long that this deal has been in the works for, right? Like, companies don't just acquire other companies overnight very often.
Yeah, unless they're
it happens.
Ubisoft.
Yeah, it happens occasionally, but usually, and who knows? We might find out more as time goes on, and there's more financial disclosure.
Yeah, this is still very early in the proceedings, and there's going to be a lot of, legal wrangling, checking to see, is this going to create a monopoly? Which, Microsoft, would they ever create a monopoly? I mean, really?
Yeah, Microsoft? No. They've never tried to create a monopoly before. What are you talking about?
This is probably not going to get finalized till very late in the year, at the earliest. I'm expecting it to more get probably this time next year to everything to be finalized, unless this has been brewing long enough that it's gonna get just pushed through, which
could be possible, but I mean, this definitely didn't start 2 weeks ago or whatever, so yeah, Microsoft is buying Activision Blizzard. Bobby Kotick is going to stay with Activision through the transition period and then get his golden parachute and jump out.
Yeah, which he is the majority shareholder of Activision Blizzard, isn't he? So he's getting so much money in this.
So much money.
He's going to make the fuck you money from Notch seem just ridiculous. It's going to be like pocket change.
Well, I mean, Bobby Kotick already was a billionaire.
But right?
Yeah. This definitely will increase his net worth a substantial few points.
Yeah, but it's a good thing, he wasn't
Bastard.
being a dickhead with in his last few days in Activision Blizzard, and talking about buying out news media.
Yeah.
Yes,
This
I'm stealing that from Jim Sterling.
Yeah. This makes some of the other things from recent, Activision Blizzard scandal make a little more sense. Like, kind of, I mean, I always expected the board to be very dismissive, but the fact that they just knew, like, oh yeah, Microsoft is trying to buy us. We're about to get a shitload of money. Like, who cares? We're just going to wait out these protesters because they'll
Yeah,
get lost in the shuffle.
yeah, it does make a lot more sense that there was no apology.jpg. Just fuck you.
Yeah. It's like, this is about to be Microsoft's problem. We'll let them deal with it.
Yeah, and let them basically clean house. Get the power washer out of storage and start begrudgingly power washing the driveway.
Yeah. I think that this is about 20%, 15 to 20% a good thing, and the rest of it is a terrible thing. As far as, we've talked about this before, as far as these massive companies go in the gaming space, or just in general, Microsoft isn't the worst.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're
you can't,
not malicious, but, right?
yeah, I mean, you can't be a company this size and be ethical or good. Like, you just can't. It's an impossibility. There are too many people that the executives at the top are standing on, and such massive infrastructure negatively affects local populations all over the world. But as far as we know, they're not the worst with the way that they treat their employees, and they seem to have at least a number of programs, Microsoft generally speaking, a number of programs so that they give back some to the communities and things like that. Very small amount of credit where credit's due. Microsoft, not the worst, right? So that's, I think there's a decent chance that Microsoft will clean house as much as they can. I'm sure there will be things written into, clauses written into contracts and buyouts and things that we'll never see that will protect certain people, even certain terrible people. But I think Microsoft can come in and clean up a lot of the structure of the company and deal with some of the issues that have been raised, rightly so, by those who have been so negatively affected. That we found out about largely in the last 6 months. With the sexual harassment and exploitation of workers, or stronger exploitation of workers, whatever. I think Microsoft can and probably will, to get some good, some really good PR out of the deal, come in and clean up Activision Blizzard at least a bit. And I think that's good. I think that that's great for the people who work there. And that's at like 15 to 20% good. We also will probably get some re-releases or remasters of games that we haven't, seen yet, and from 15, 20 years ago. And this week's Jimquisition, Metal Arms glitch in the system is a big one, which I think Metal Arms is a good game. I played it, in the early 2000s when it released. I would love to see a sequel to that game. But I think that we'll see a lot of these back catalogs come to Game Pass.
Microsoft directly came out and said that they're wanting to revitalize some of these, and Guitar Hero, it's kind of ripe for that one as well, especially with Twitch integration, right?
Yeah.
I'm sitting here looking at this. Obviously, Crash Bandicoot it's seen a little bit of resurgence. Geometry Wars.
Yeah. So, I believe Microsoft will make good on those promises. It will give, revitalize some studios, bring some additional jobs to the market, all of that jazz. And I think those things are good. Those things are good for both employees and for gamers alike. For the time being, and that's sort of hinting at where I'm going, for the time being, I think it'll be great to make Game Pass an even better value, like you're crazy if you don't have Game Pass, if you're a PC or an Xbox gamer value. Like, I already think that, like, you should be gaming on Game Pass if you game as like a good, primary hobby. it's worth it just because of the amount of games that you have access to, and it's cheaper in the long run if you want to game and play very recent AAA titles especially. And I think this is going to drive the value of Game Pass up even more for the time being.
Now, what's going to be interesting is what happens to PlayStation once all these contracts that Activision Blizzard has with them run out. Right?
Yeah, we'll see. That's kind of where I think the good ends. Then we get to the bad. Monopolies are real bad. If we're going to have the horrible system that's capitalism, monopolies are the worst way that can show up. And Microsoft is starting to build a de facto monopoly, even if they aren't technically a monopoly in the sense that they have zero competition. They're building a stable that is going to make them so far and ahead, the leaders or however you want to look at that they effectively have no competition, making them a de facto monopoly. And Game Pass will continue to be an excellent value until, the balance flips to where Microsoft has that monopoly and they don't need to keep Game Pass and other services that they have as a good value anymore. And the second that happens, they'll flip the switch.
Mm-hmm.
And, they might do the whole like frog in boiling water thing where that they raise the temperature over the course of a few years to bring Game Pass from a great value to a mediocre value to, now it's not worth it. And the other ways that this can shut down competition and innovation within the industry long term, not good. I think we've got, this is pure speculation on my part, but between Bethesda and now Activision Blizzard, Microsoft is interested in buying Square Enix. I think it's Square Enix. It might be Capcom.
No. This was Jim Sterling's speculation area about where this could go next. I haven't seen any direct people talking about this.
They expressed direct interest a few years ago about wanting to, or discussing purchasing. I think it was Square Enix. It might have been Capcom, and yes, that was speculated on the Jimquisition, but it's been a few years ago. But they did express interest in buying one of those two companies at one point. So, but there, there's a few other studios, a few other key sort of major third-party development studios, and they've locked all of that up in their ecosystem, and then they can jack the price up. Because it's like, oh, you want to play Call of Duty, right? You want to play Battlefield, you want to play Final Fantasy, you want to play, XYZ, all these sports games. Like, if you want to play them, well, you can buy them, I guess, outright, or you can come to Game Pass, and they'll get you roped into that environment.
Well, it also makes me wonder, especially talking about Call of Duty, how could they make it an even worse investment than it already is? Because it's a yearly release at full price. It never really goes on discount. Even years past, it's still full price. So, right?
Yeah.
This is one of those areas that, can they do much worse than what's already the market?
Yeah. I don't know.
And I do understand. They are starting to get a scary amount of franchises. I mean, hell, just the Blizzard franchises. Before, Blizzard absolutely took a dump on all their, intellectual property. Diablo, Warcraft.
Yeah.
StarCraft, Overwatch.
Yep.
And, well, Hearthstone, I know it's technically in the Warcraft thing, but those are were major names in PC gaming, let alone just gaming in general. So having them trade hands and go into the Microsoft umbrella, I've seen others talk about this, not just Jim Sterling, but the Disneyfication basically pulling a Disney and starting to pull in more and more of these major franchises and it having a snowball effect. And yeah, it's starting to get a little scary.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've seen a number of comments made this week on Twitter along the lines of like, glad I've got this backlog of X number of games to play as the game industry burns itself down.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
I can't say I disagree.
But hey, at least they were talking about NFTs on late night TV, so there is that.
Yeah. Oh, God. Fucking NFTs, man. That Dan Olsen video, though, Folding Ideas, real good. I know I posted it in Discord, but...
Yeah, I don't need a 2-hour video to know NFTs are a bad idea.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, now I'm completely blanking on who it was, but on one of the late night talk shows, they were comparing their monkey NFTs. It's just...
Yeah, I think it was Jimmy Fallon.
It was Jimmy Fallon, but I can't think of the other one. Was it Paris Hilton? It feels like Paris Hilton.
I don't know. I didn't actually watch it. Like, I just saw something about it on Twitter. I consume a lot of, like, celebrity kind of bullshit news via Twitter.
Yep. Paris Hilton, because of course. If you need something shallow and not worth the money that it gets, well, there's NFTs, but there's also Paris Hilton.
No, yeah, not much more shallow and vapid than Paris Hilton. Actually, that might be unfair. I obviously don't know anything about her, and she could be very different than she was back in the 90s and 2000s or whatever it was, but...
Well, it looks like she got a spray tan.
Well,
Well, let's put it this way. PC Gamer, Paris Hilton and Jimmy Fallon showing off their NFTs is the longest 77 seconds ever.
Oh, God.
Right?
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah.
I've talked a lot, and I understand if you don't have anything to add or whatever, but do you have anything that you want to add or anything that I
not
missed?
Really. I mean, like you said, in the short term, this could be really good for us. It's just, where is this going? Because, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I do feel like this will be beneficial in the short term.
That's, of course, assuming one thing, that this actually is allowed to go through.
That's true.
There's a lot that goes on beyond just saying, okay, we'll buy you for nearly $69 billion. There's antitrust investigations. There's regulations that goes through. There's a lot that could stack this up.
I think it'll go through.
Or, hell, EA could snipe them, right?
Yeah.
Or some other group.
EA, Activision, Blizzard. Oh. Oh no.
I just made up something worse than NFTs.
We might be there, though. We might be there soon. I mean, Microsoft has already embedded the EA, so I mean, Microsoft didn't buy EA, but who knows what they could be working on. I think that this will go through. I think it'll be approved. I mean, anything could happen, but I don't see why it wouldn't. I don't think that it's ultimately a good idea. I think it brings Microsoft too close to a monopoly in the gaming space. But I think a lot of the politicians who are going to be looking at this are not going to understand anything about it. And, I know that they will have people who will look at it, and I'm sure they will have lots of experts. But as often happens, evidence gets ignored when money is on the line. So I fully expect it to go through.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is going to happen or not. Because I still remember, Microsoft getting all sorts of flack for Internet Explorer. So,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's, a history that the government might say no. But I guess we'll have to see how that goes, right?
Yeah, we'll have to see how it all plays out.
So,
yeah.
On to our last thing. Dark Souls 3 has a security hole that allows attackers to hijack your PC. Yeah, this is bad. This is very bad.
Yep.
There's not a lot of information about exactly what this was because, it's a very real vulnerability. It's potentially an Elden Ring, but it affected Dark Souls 3 and potentially the previous Dark Souls games as well, where an invader to your game can run remote code to hijack your system. And yeah, it's kind of rare to see this level of security hole, you know?
Yeah.
Or security vulnerability, I should say. Security hole sounds, a little wrong somehow.
Dirty.
Oh, you just made it worse.
Yeah, so the specifics of it, there was a person who found it, and then they used it to run or to run Microsoft PowerShell, where the guy, the hacker, air quotes hacker, used it to run the Windows built-in like text-to-speech program to like troll the streamer for their poor gameplay.
Yeah, which seems like they only did this after they were either ignored or didn't get a response back from the developer, so to get more attention to this. And it does look like the third-party anti-cheat stuff that some people run in Dark Souls 3 has patched this, but the base game has not yet. So PvP is completely offline for Dark Souls 3, 2, and the original. The original remaster. It's just wow, right?
Yeah. That's a big oopsie. I mean, we've seen a few in the last year with more recent games, Marvel, with like displaying like people's IP addresses openly and freely.
But this is one of the worst ones we've seen in quite a while. I mean,
I was gonna say this is on a new level though.
I mean, be able to run PowerShell on somebody else's computer, that means that you can, do pretty much anything on it.
Yeah. So I think it's interesting. I mean, I guess stuff can have bugs for a long time before they're discovered.
Or this was something obscure that they found.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Dark Souls 3 has had an update in a while. And, this is kind of the highlight of it is Dark Souls 3, but I don't recall hearing anything about it, but, I'm not big into the Dark Souls, so not sure when the last update was, but this could be, or who knows, it could be something, interaction between the game itself and Windows, and some Windows patch opened up a vulnerability that wasn't there from the base game, which is also a possibility, since we have no idea how this actually works.
Yeah, that's very true. You make a good point. I mean, it might not necessarily just be something that was missed lying in, dormant, sounds so mysterious, in the code. Could have been, like you said, changed an update or something that exposed a vulnerability that otherwise would not have been exposed or would have been unknown.
Actually, it looks like the servers are starting to come back up. This article is from a week ago.
Yeah.
This particular article is from a few days ago. The original tweet that led me to this article is from over a week ago, though. So this has been an ongoing thing. So the fact that they're starting to get the servers back up. But if you've been playing Dark Souls and got invaded, may want to check your stuff, right?
Yeah. Definitely worth checking out.
That's the other thing, is that we have no idea how long this has been going on. This is dangerous.
Yeah. Very dangerous. I don't know what else to add. It's real bad. Somebody being able to get complete control of your PC is real bad.
Mm.
So, yeah, I don't think I have anything else to add.
Yeah. Also, it doesn't help that we don't know exactly what was going on outside of, remote code execution, bad things happening.
Yeah,
right.
I'm not I'm not a hacker. I'm not elite hacksaw. I don't know what it's doing. Bad stuff.
The closest I get is listening to All About the Pentiums by Weird Al.
Fun song. Yeah. Cool beans.
So,
Well, oh, sorry.
There's not, well, we kind of covered the community corner with everything else this week, so not really a lot else going on there. I'm assuming you want to bail early tonight?
Yeah, I mean, we had already said we probably weren't going to do Discovery Queue, and I'm feeling it. I mean, we've still been recording for like 90 minutes or something. But yeah, I mean, community corner, I guess for all of our news topics this week came from the community corner submissions section.
Yeah,
so
yeah, catching up on most of it. I mean, we did skip the NFT thing, and right because outside of joking about it, trying to avoid diving into it again.
Yeah. But yeah, why don't you tell the people where that they can find us to submit stuff if they haven't.
You could email us vglpodcast@gmail.com. You could tweet us VGL Podcast. We haven't actually had a tweet in a while. Or, as most of the lovely people did for this, drop it into our Discord, which you can find a link over at vglpodcast.podbean.com.
Indeed.
And awkward pause.
Yeah, I guess since we're not going to do anything afterwards, hey Rage, why don't you hit him with the socials?
I was waiting for it. It's just,
yeah.
Hey Rage, your sleep-addled brain, right?
Hit him with the socials. Yeah, don't mind me.
Yeah, you're just out there power washing the siding.
Yeah,
grumbling to yourself. Goddamn realtor.
God damn it. Yeah.
I've been Caffeine Rage. You can occasionally find me tweeting over at Gaming with CR, or if you wish to be my friend on Steam, you could find me at Caffeine Rage over there. And you've been
Gaming Psychologist. You can find me over on the YouTubes by searching for that, although I might stop saying that. I haven't uploaded anything to YouTube in like 18 months. So, but if you want to find me shitposting on Twitter, you can do so by searching at JMA4707. And you never know what you're going to find me tweeting about. Sometimes it's serious. Sometimes it's shitposting. Sometimes it's just straight up grumpy. I was real mad this morning about student loan people. And me trying to deal with them. I need, so everybody's student loans are in forbearance right now because of COVID. And traditionally, you can't get a loan if you've got something else in forbearance. Because that says to a lender, no matter what the reason is, no matter what the thing is that's in forbearance, that says to a lender, you can't afford to pay your loans. But everybody's in forbearance because of COVID. So you can get letters from your student loan providers that say, hey, this is the COVID forbearance. It's cool. Let them get a loan. And so, our lender told us that today we have to contact them, get this letter. So I call because there's no way to request one on the website because, of course, there's not. I sit on hold for an hour and finally talk to the person. I'm like, yes, I need you to send me this letter. I would like to request an email. That way I can get it to my lender immediately and then a paper copy to have for records. And they said, okay, we'll do that. Your paper letter, we'll get that sent out. Should be there within 5 business days. We'll send you an email. It should be there in 7 to 10 business days.
Wait, what?
I'm like, wait, I'm sorry. Did I mishear you? Did you maybe say those backwards? Like, even like 3 to 5 days to get an email seems like a long time, but did you say that backwards? She's like, no, I can send the letter out sooner. I have to put in a special request for the email. And I'm like, it takes days to send an email? I was mad. I was real mad. I didn't yell at this lady, but this is the closest I've came to yelling at somebody in like a customer support position ever. I'm like, it's not her fault. I know it's not her fault, but I've been on hold for an hour and you tell me some dumb shit.
The Pony Express was faster.
Yes. So
getting a telegram was faster than the email.
Infinitely faster. Yes. Yes, indeed.
But they just do that to you because they know you have nowhere else to go.
I'm fucked. I have to wait. I can't do anything else. I have to wait on it. So I'm a captive audience, literally a captive person, beholden to them. Because if I don't get this letter, I can't get my home loan.
And start up your commune, make your new cult, the sex perverts.
Start my cult, the sex perverts. But anyways, that's what I was tweeting about today. I was very grumpy about it.
You grumpy? No.
Yeah. And then if you want to see me play tabletop games like Vampire the Masquerade and be just like the most evil person ever, or Battletech.
Well, I don't know. You don't take a week to send out an email, so.
That's true. But if you want to see those things, I participate on Twitch streams for a streamer called Runic Arts. That's twitch.tv/Runic Arts.
And as I scroll all the way back up, once again, you could email us, vglpodcast@gmail.com, with your letters, voicemails, game-related topics. Tweet them to us at VGLpodcast, or drop by the Discord, which you can find a link to that over at vglpodcast.podbean.com. And if you wish to spread the love, you can find us on your podcatcher of choice. Our lovely, lovely patrons have made this possible. You can find out more at patreon.com/VGLpodcast. Our intro and outro music is On the Ground by Kevin McLeod. You can find his work over at incompetech.com. And
as always, as his lovely music starts to roll across my voice, bye-bye now.
See ya.
Bye-bye.